Habibi for Hodier Black Family. This is Bob Imhotep coming live once again from the School of Urban Philosophy. Today's message is a very simple and straight to the point message, but it's one of those messages that I deem to be highly relevant and extremely important. So earlier today, I placed a post on Facebook concerning moving towards divinity or moving away from divinity as the measuring stick to determine for African people a framework of what it means to be human. Like the more we move towards our divine essence, the more human we are. The further we move away from the divinity, righteousness, it detracts from and take away from what it means to be human. And oftentimes, as a people, we struggle with these, or rather, this type of conversation because we are always attempting to look at the world through the definitions that Europeans have provided. We don't understand that the world that we know today, this world, it's a social world and it's a cultural world. And people define things from their cultural standpoint. The European white people does not have no exclusive right nor monopoly on defining reality. They can only define for themselves. But what they have successfully done is define themselves within the spiritual concepts that by nature they do not fit. What I mean is this: a human being in the truest sense of the word is a reflection of the divine. A human being in the truest sense of the word is a reflection of the divine. Human beingness is the process by which the human being reflects the divine in the material world. Let me say that again. Human beingness is the process by which the human being reflects the divine within the world. And by divine, I mean Chukwu, Olodumare, Mware, Ama, Inyame, Ptah. African supreme divinities find relevancy, finds existence within the material world by way of the African being, which is a spirit being, which is the only true human being. And this is what we have to come to understand. So to be human from our standpoint, we must be black man and black woman in a perpetual process of moving towards divinity. What we do must reflect righteousness, righteous essence, right actions, divine manifestation. So we shouldn't be showing up in ways that's taken away from, detracting from what it means to be divine, because thereby you are reducing yourself from your human status, your human office, because the human being is the symbolic representation of Olodumare in the physical, the symbolic representation of Chukwu in the physical. We represent the divine. So therefore, all that we do must reflect divinity. We must forever be in the process of aspiring to be divine. That is the reason why our ancestors created rite of passages, apprenticeship systems, initiation systems. That's the reason why we had the priesthoods, the brotherhoods, the sisterhoods, the motherhoods. We created processes and systems that was designed to tap into the best that we are and bring that out of us so we can always manifest divinity. See, for us to be human is to be divine. For us to be a human being is to be a spirit being, not to be anything less than spirit. This is how we understood it. So we have to move back to that understanding, because that's the only way we're going to shift some of the behaviors that we are beginning to witness that a lot of us don't like. These behaviors have to be placed in their proper category. If the behavior doesn't move you towards divinity, if the behavior is not an expression of righteousness, then it's the opposite. It's in divinity. It's unrighteousness. And if it's in divinity and unrighteousness, then you're moving away from what it means to be human. You're moving more so towards to be subhuman, inhuman, unhuman, or infrahuman. Not human. See, to be human is to be of a higher order. It's a higher order to be human. It is to be refined and enhanced. It is to have an illuminated spirit that shines forth. That's what it means to be human. It means to be beautiful in all that you is, and you bring beauty into the world. You don't detract from the beauty of the world. You bring beauty into the world. So when you behave and act in ways that are contrary to what it means to be divine, what it means to be righteous, then you're not acting human. Think about this, brothers and sisters. This is what the Europeans have been able to do. This is what white people have been able to do. They have been able to convince black people that a cannibal can also be classified as a human. A cannibal, you know what I'm saying? A sadistic individual who kill people and eat them up could be classified as you, as a human. No way. There's no way that you shall go for that. There's no way that you should allow yourself to be placed in a category with someone that thinks, acts, and behaves like that. That's less than human. So why would you allow that type of person to be classified as you are? Now, that person exists, no doubt. He or she is real, no doubt. But are they human? No, not in the true sense of what it means from an African point of view. Ontologically or cosmologically, or from an African point of view, that's not human. Subhuman, unhuman, inhuman, or infrahuman, but not human. Not human. Even the idea we say, man, evil human beings, right? Evil and human should not be placed in the same context. Now, let me be real clear, because I know we ready to jump at that. Man, I disagree, Bobby. There's such thing as you got some evil people out here. Now, I'm not saying that evil beings does not exist. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that you don't have evil subhuman beings, or evil unhuman beings, or evil non-human beings, or evil infrahuman beings. I'm not saying those types of people does not exist. I am saying that the human being is divine. So since the human being is divine, that the human being cannot be evil. I'm saying that once you descend to the status of being evil, meaning you are disrupting and breaking the natural order that have been set in place, then you are no longer standing in your human beingness. You have descended from what it means to be human. See, our human status must be upheld perpetually. It's not a one-time thing. To be human is to be perpetual. To be human is to be always human. That's what it means to be human. To be fully human is to be mature in your humanity. It's to understand your relationship to all things natural and recognize the divinity of the earth and the sacredness of life. So when you have individuals that run around and they're destroying life, committing sacrilege, when they are polluting the earth, right? Those individuals, those beings, whatever we want to classify them as, cannot and must not be classified as human beings. If as a people, we can get back to the mindset of understanding that to be human is to be divine, and we treat you according to what you manifest, people will begin to change how they act. People People will never change how they act as long as they can still be classified as a human. They can act as vile and as beastly as possible, and you still say that's a human. We're listening to European logic and their backward ass philosophers, Nietzsche's and Descartes and all those types of individuals who have this dark philosophy because they were looking at themselves within their society. And so we think that this way of thinking applies to all of us. No, it does not. We don't come here fractured, broken up, and destroyed. That's not how we come to the world. The African come to the world as a living soul, as a star awaiting to be illuminated. That's how we come here. We come understanding that we are divine. We come from divinity to this world, which is sacred, only to aspire back to divinity. That's who we are. So our children, Black children, need to know that they are divine, and it's our responsibility as Black parents to put them in the process to move towards their divinity, to elevate them, to allow them to behave and conduct themselves in ways that's going to maximize their human growth and development and spiritual expansion. That's our task, Black man and Black woman, as parents, to open this child up, to make this child blossom into all the glory and the beauty that he or she is as a young human being. That's the work we have to do. But we have to ensure that we understand what it means to be human. So let's talk about some real human attributes. Mercy, righteousness, peace, love, respectful order, caring, hospitality. That's what it means to be, not to be all aggressive, hateful, disliking, envious, jealous, right? Those behaviors are of a lower nature. They are of a lower nature, a lower type of being manifests those behaviors, not the human being. The human being is of a higher order. Remember what I'm telling you. The human being is a more refined and enhanced type of being because the human being is the reflection of Amma in the material world. The human being is, in fact, the universe. That's who you are. You are the divinity that you aspire to be. You are it. That's what we have to come to understand. We don't come to the world to operate at a low frequency. We don't come to the world to justify backwardsness, to justify corruptness, perversity, vileness. No, none of that stuff reflects human beingness. Human beingness can only be correctly and rightfully judged and measured within the context of righteousness or an ongoing aspiration to be righteous. It's the only context. The only context. Ma'at is the only context. Anything outside of Ma'at is not human. And I know it's hard to grasp what I'm saying because we have been conditioned to believe that every walking, talking thing is human. Yes, it is human, but what type of human is it? Right? Is it the human being or is it an inhuman being? Is it a subhuman being? Is it an infrahuman being? Or is it just non-human? Just because it talks, just because it eats food as you and I, just because it defecates or urinates, just because it can reproduce itself, doesn't in its totality make it human. Just because it can do those things. So there is some additional stuff that's added to what it means to be human. It's not enough just to wake up in the morning and just talk. and walk around and run and defecate and have sex and make babies. And you say, well, I'm a human being. But yet everything you do takes away from the beauty and the glory and the magical essence of the world. You are destroying the earth, the planet, the universe. You're destroying lives and families and people, and you still think you are a human? That cannot be a part of our criteria, black men and black women. We have to throw that stuff out. You can't run around our community and just be out here destroying black people and you still say you are human. Now, let me qualify what I mean. So you can choose to move away from divinity consciously or unconsciously. It doesn't matter. If your behavior moves you away from what it means to be divine, then you are moving towards what it means to be indivine. And in that movement, you are making a choice. Whether that's a conscious or unconscious choice, by virtue of your behavior, you have chosen to either be righteous or unrighteous, divine or indivine. That's your choice. And if you choose anything other than righteousness and divinity, then you've chosen not to be human. You're choosing not to be human. Why do I say that? I say it because I want us to understand that there was a time in this world before the advent of white people coming out of the caves or coming out of the annals of Europe and places like that, and pushing into African societies. That was a time, man, where we understood that character mattered. How you conducted yourself mattered. We understood that. It was very important for you to have good character. It was very important to behave upright. It was very important for women and men of status to carry themselves with elegance. It was important. You had to do that. Those were criteria. You could not just say what you wanted to say, how you wanted to say it, when you wanted to say it. You had to conduct yourself a specific way of a higher order to be recognized as what you profess to be. It's not enough just to profess to be, but you don't carry that what you profess to be into action. It's not enough to profess, oh, I am a man, but yet you act like a boy. I am a woman, but yet you act like a girl. Or I am a woman, I'm a queen. Treat me like a queen, but yet you conduct yourself like a whore. I am a man, I'm a king. Treat me like a king, yet you conduct yourself like a dog. No, we can't do that, black man and black woman. And we have to stop buying into all these backwards, non-productive concepts that these white people have given you. We justify backwards behaviors with this terminology right here. Freedom of human expression. Another white concept. It's another white concept. Oh man, that's just freedom of human expression. They can behave how they want to behave. That's not true. That is not true. Remember, we're living in a society, it's a social structure. We are human beings. And because we are human beings, by human, I mean African beings. Let me qualify that. See, by human, I mean African. I don't mean everything that's walking and talking on the planet Earth. Everything that's walking and talking on the planet Earth don't meet the qualifications of what it means to be human by African standards. It just don't. Now, back to the black man and the black woman. We are human, meaning we are spirit beings, meaning we descend from a spiritual source, meaning we come from that which is divine. Therefore, we must reflect divinity. That's what we have to come to understand. We descend from it. We come from it. So since we come from divinity, it's our task in the physical world to aspire to place ourselves in a quest back to divinity. And the only way we can move back to divinity is to show up divine perpetually. Let me say it again. The only way we can move back to divinity is to show up divine perpetually. What do I mean? We must be righteous. We must be righteous. We must not lie to one another and steal from one another and kill one another. Let me qualify killing. Right? I'm a qualified killing. Excuse me. If you got to defend yourself, do what you have to do. Right? Because anything that sets the order right is right. So if a person seeks to destroy you, and I'm telling you that African people, we are divine, we are sacred. So if someone is seeking to destroy that which is sacred, that individual in that instance is attempted to do what? Commit sacrilege. And if you prevent that from taking place by removing that evil out of this physical world, then you have done no wrong. You have set the order back in place. So understand killing. It has its place and its function. Right? We just can't run around our society murdering our own people, right? Because murder is intentional, right? And that is the intent to destroy your own, right? So murder becomes a taboo. Murder breaks the order. But that's another conversation. But I wanted to, highlight that a little bit because I made mention of it. But I want to get back to the central point of this particular message. Is how to be human. And you do that by aspiring to be righteous. So the question is asked, well, what's righteous, Baba Imhotep? By righteous, I don't mean religious. Religiosity doesn't control what it means to be righteous. I'm going to make righteous real easy for you. Righteous is right actions. Now, the next question, the logical question is, what are right actions? Right actions could be summed up as African morality. And it can start from this particular premise. African people are child-centered. We're child-centered and life-affirming. So if you're child-centered, you can't destroy these children. You can't abuse these children. You can't rape these children. You can't be a pedophile. You can't do none of those things, right? So, that's the morality coming out of that piece from right there. Life affirming. Anything that affirms life, that enhances life, that brings beauty into life, right? That's what you do. That's what you do. Now, next thing is that we are communally based, meaning that we understand the importance of being in a group and we respect the order of the group. So the order must be respected. So wherever you find yourself at in the African context, and there are just orders or just procedures or just rules that the group have agreed upon, then you, me, and whomever are required to adhere. Adherence to the rules and regulations that we enact as a group sustains and maintains order. And nothing we do should break the order. So I didn't want to stay too long. Let me get up out of here. It's 3:23. I hope I said something that resonates with you, that can take you to another level in this thinking about this thing about the human being. I'm open for further discussions about the human being. If that's something you would like to engage in, just place a comment, on the YouTube page, comment, and we can keep this discussion going, this conversation going, because it's time for us to elevate ourselves as a people. And one of the ways that I believe we can do that, if we change the paradigm concerning what it is and what it means to be human. So as always, like the channel, subscribe to this channel, and share this video. Just do that. Share the video, like the channel, and subscribe. As always, race first, Bibi Hodie. Until next time, stay black and always aspire to be human, to be righteous, to be divine.